And Jesus.
I see a picture. Wrestling matches.
Hello. Hey. Let's get the camera rotated here and try this again. Hey guys, it's Ryan, Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions Pioneer, one laugh race of Southern Ontario. Here we go. Happy Monday evening, Ricky. You're with us.
Hey, it's Ricky Z, formerly known as Ricky Z, LMR, or Ricky 7. How are you today? Everything's fine?
Yeah, I was sleeping. I actually had tonight's show packed in. I fell asleep before it started. So you woke me up about 2 minutes before the show.
Yeah, because you know what, I was waiting here, and I thought, well, what happened? I know, well, because it's very early in the morning there, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
So, you know, if you sit back and have a little snooze before you know it, you know.
Yeah, I laid
But
down
hey,
at about 11. A lot of people think here that you're on vacation, right? I get a lot of the ignorant people say that how's your holiday and how's this and that. And I was holidaying at that time. From 11 till 2, I was having a rest. But it's not a big deal. We're here back. It's Monday night. Hey, what are we going to do? I don't have any of the photos or anything for tonight set up. But oh well. It's going to be what it's going to be. This will probably be one of the better shows. This show works best when you guys participate. So don't be shy. Sean Nelson says, good evening, fellas. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. David Tracy, hello. David Tracy says hello. Tracy says hi. Big shout out to Tracy, our cheer captain. Tracy is in the hospital getting ready to do some type of open heart surgery. She had some type of a sonic boom with her chest, so she almost died, but she's still living. But we're not sure yet, so we're gonna put our thoughts and prayers to Tracy.
I'm
Hopefully,
going to give Tracy the best of luck, and I feel, um, I feel she's going to come through. Very strong person. Um, it hurts me to hear that situation. I know she's going to pull through. She's going to be okay.
well, you have to think about it. It's one of two options. The boat she's in, she's either pulling through or she's not. So we're gonna go with she's pulling through, and I'm sure she will.
Oh yeah.
I talked to her today. She's still in good spirit, so that's the main thing. No echo tonight. You got it fixed. Yes, we tried to get it fixed. We finally got Ricky to go to the Apple Store, and the Apple Store doesn't have it totally fixed, but the Apple Store is working on it. They're getting a new part in, but they did some type of technical BS, so it's working a lot better.
Yeah. You don't hear echo tonight?
No, it's zero free echo, says Sean. So
Yeah.
there's no
So
echo, which is a good thing.
what they ended up doing is they got one bad speaker on this, and they ended up somehow canceling the one speaker, so I'm running on one speaker. It's supposed to be two speakers. I'm running on one. So maybe you won't be able to hear me as quite as well, but there won't be the echo.
Well, Ricky, you don't have to worry. Again, guys, this show works good. Mike Vanderjak's on. Mike is on. Round of applause for Mike. Michael. Now, I don't like to go down the road and say I told you so or I didn't tell you so, but I make sure with each of the breeders now that we do ask them about droppers, just so I'm not a liar and being full of shit. All three of the Lambrechts, they use droppers. And this week when I go to Luke Vandenplas, we're going to ask him if he uses droppers. Just want to let Mike know that so far the droppers are in the lead. They're going strong. Seems like almost every loft is using them. What does that mean? Well, just wanting to let Mike know because Mike said that. What did I know? What did one loft use them? So it's a question now that I'm going to be asking every loft until we come up with a consensus if I'm wrong or whatever. But
Okay, so I'm going to be a little naive. I guess you call it naive. I'm going to stand on Mike's side,
sure.
and I'm going to ask the question. Do you mind me asking a question? Because I know Mike's a little on the shy side. So I'm going to ask him, I'm going to ask the question. I already know the answer, but I'm just going to ask it. Who in the world are these people that use these droppers? Like, I mean, who are they? Like, do they have any reputation? Do they have anything in the pigeon world? Anybody could say I use
Wow.
droppers. Like, are these names that you're using? And I'm going to stand up again. Are these names that are factitious names? Like, are these like? Did you dream these out of a book?
No. These are the people that we interview, who we do auctions for. They're national winners or first national ace winners.
Okay. Yeah, good. Thank you
Yeah.
for answering that question. Now, is there any way that Mike Vanderyak, because he's good
Well,
on the
we're
computers and stuff, can he check on these names just to see really that you're not
well.
sending a word of?
That's already exactly what I said. I asked the people that are better than myself and the people on the show and Mike what they do. Now, just those are just the people. I mean, I can't ask every person in Belgium, but
But they have a record on the internet
you
on
know.
what their performance has been. That's what I'm talking. It's like Ricky
Well,
Z.
hold on,
Ricky Z has a record on the
hold
internet.
on. Okay, yeah, we already went over this. All you gotta do is watch the auctions, and you'll see the record. So I don't have to go on about their record. I told you already. Their record is better than the people on the show's record, including
No,
myself.
but excuse me, but I'm going to use this for an argument's sake. I know in the past shows that Mike has almost said, kind of indirectly, who in the world are these names? Who in the world are they? Mike basically said,
Van Zorn says. Van Zorn says
right?
he has 7 now. So,
So,
uh
but Mike Vanderyak, he has quite a name. He's been flying around here for 40 years, and he
no.
believes that
It's
drop.
keeping pigeons and playing with pigeons. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
on.
right.
Okay, but anyways, okay. So I'm done with that.
Okay,
We're,
can we not hold on? Can we not have a commercial about
no.
sat nets, non, if anybody wants to purchase them, they can from Ricky Seven. Go on with the commercial.
Yeah. Anyways, last night we had a great. We had last night. We had a super auction for Lambrex pigeons. Okay, and I will never ever hear. I will never hear again that the Birds of Feathers Elite are overpriced. Last night we gave away 4 pigeons. We gave them away. Gave them away. And there's an echo. Well, if there's an echo on Facebook, then just come on to to YouTube or go to Facebook. Nobody's complaining about echo, Gavin, except for you. If there is an echo, if there's not an echo, hey, I don't know what to say. Hey, Ricky, all the dropper thing, may I buy a pair? Can't afford the show quality. All Ian, you don't need the shit that we sell. No, 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 no. Come on
Oh,
now.
hold
Remember,
on.
hey, guys, you know what? You can pretend you're a dropper yourself and fly to the board. But droppers
I
are
don't
easy to
hold,
find.
hold on. Let me rectify that.
Oh.
I do not sell show quality satnet droppers. They are not show quality. I believe a show quality satnet can't do what this is. A working class satnet. Working class. That's like a Labrador retriever that goes and actually hunts or gets the bird out of the water, and he's a working class lab. If you take that lab into a show, he's probably ugly, but a show quality can't do what a working class does. Same as a beagle, same as a racing dog. A racing dog is a racing dog. He's not a show quality dog. You take a show quality racing dog and try and put him on the track, he ain't going to work no more. Like whoever said that,
What?
Ian, take
Yeah.
your pigeons and make them show quality. After 5 or 10 years, they won't race no more. But if you want a working class satnet, uh, that's what you want. And not, it's not show quality. It's working
Well, he
class
did.
satnet.
He didn't ask for a show quality.
No, he said he can't afford a show quality. We don't have. I don't have show quality satnets.
Hey,
So
listen.
what's the price again? Oh,
If you're one of those guys that's into the pigeon shows and you wear those stupid coats, you got to go to the show with all the badges on, and you're stuck up the ass like 99% of the show people are. I'm sorry, show people. When I went to the show, that's what you kind of see. Yeah, those aren't the ones you want. I actually, those aren't really the people I really enjoy being friends with. Just the way the look of it, it just looks odd. But
I do not keep show quality satnets. I keep working class satnets, the ones
well,
that'll work for
you're
you.
Ricky. That's why you're just ahead of the curve, bud. You're ahead of the damn curve.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't expect you to go to a show with my bird.
That's the kind Ian said he was looking for. So, yeah, they are.
No, no, he said
If
he
you
didn't want.
if
He said he didn't want to pay the price for show quality.
no
That's what
no
he said.
no,
Read it.
he's
Read
looking
it.
for okay. So
Read it.
Ian, they are available. If you use the code word Ricky7, they are 177 $177.77 a pair. That is in Canadian dollars. You can pay in US dollars or you can pay in euros. You have that option. Again, there's no guarantees. They can get your loft completely sick and wipe you out and ruin your season. That's just the guarantees that we always give people, right? Because I always notice sometimes when you give somebody a pigeon, and I've done this before and it really irks me, is I always like it when you give somebody a pigeon and you guys tell me if this has ever happened to you. The pigeon, they take it home and 2 weeks later it's sick or apparently it's got their birds all sick. Have you guys ever experienced this?
I have. I've bought birds at young bird auctions and healthy as can be at the auction. Super healthy, gorgeous young bird. I bring it home. I put it into my loft, which I have my own immunities, of course. And usually you can almost count the days. Within about 2.5 to 3 weeks, you're going, I hope you can survive it. And a lot of times they get that sickness
Mm-hmm.
and they croak. And soon you see that,
Mm-hmm.
the best thing to do, we're going to talk about young bird sickness. This is a good avenue to get into.
All right.
Is Okay, that's it. That's and it's not that you bought a sick bird or somebody gave you a sick bird. It's something about immunity in your own loft, and it just hits them. And if especially if it's a young bird, it hits them. Anybody out there agree with me?
Yeah, I agree. It's just the stress of moving. Len says, here in Australia we have Spanish Thief X Racing works the best. Cattle dogs, he is priceless. Ricky's priceless, all right. Ricky, you're priceless. We don't need no stinking badges. Badges. Oh, Dave Crozier's against the stupid badges from the show guys. I got this question. Why do show guys wear those stupid badges? They wear these coats. They go to a pigeon show. They wear a stupid coat. And they got 900 badges glued on their shirt. Like, I mean, and it's not even like it's just it looks ridiculous. It's like this is like their bulletproof vest on or something. I
Well,
think to me
yeah, I know. And if I look at the future that's coming to these guys, they're going to walk around with a hat on with flares. Like, means something. I don't know what it is. It means something. It's like, I'm looking, I go, like you say, I go, holy shit, what is this? The Boy Scout team or what? The Girl Guides or what's going on?
well,
Like, no parking badge and a yield badge, whatever it is, you know. Yeah,
I
I
always
mean
call
that. Hey, wait a minute, that's part of the deal, okay? And
I always
we as
I
regular
always
working class pigeon guys, flyers,
I,
we kind of feel like this is kind of like the
I,
Twilight Zone.
and I hate to say this, but I always find pigeon shows kind of like figure skating. I don't know if I'm wrong, but I mean, when I look at pigeon shows, not that not that I don't like a pigeon show. It just looks odd to me. I see a bunch of grown men running around in funny little coats, and their noses are high. It's like it's a beauty pageant. It's like is it there? Is it there that little side to them? I don't know. You know,
I
they're
know.
using shavings, or I shouldn't be knocking. It's just like it's not manly or nothing. It's pigeon. Like, come on, what are we doing here? These stupid
Hey,
coats
hey,
on.
hey, hey! Listen,
Well,
my friend.
let's drink Nescafe or something too while we're at it.
Oh yeah. If you want to have a little shot of whiskey or something, you got to pour it underneath the table, because if they find out, we're all growing people in this room. Like there's 250 of us. Okay, well, hey, how you doing, Johnny? Would you like a shot of whiskey? Or Johnny says, would you like a little shot of whiskey? And he says it with his lips shut. You want a shot of whiskey?
Yeah,
Okay.
we
Oh,
understand.
we gotta pour it underneath the table because
As
we're at a social event. Because if we all drink whiskey, we'll be fighting.
listen, listen. I know one thing. If I'm ever getting into the show circuit, I gotta have about 900 badges, and I'll get badges from anywhere I can get badges. I'll get badges from the Girl Guides. I'll get badges from a Tractor
Well,
Supply store. I'll get badges from Coca Cola. I'll just glue all this shit on. Then I'll look like I fit in. I'll look like I'm lost, but it'll be all right. Gang One says
uh,
young bird sickness is airborne. Um, you know,
you're gonna have to. Can you excuse me? I gotta let the dog out. The
yeah,
dog's only, and the dog's only a little short dog, so it's not gonna take long.
young bird sickness is airborne. Yeah, but it normally takes about I don't know. You ever notice you start noticing your young birds go off in about 2 or 3 weeks? That's normally about the time. You normally don't see it right away. Maybe that's a me thing, but I can put young birds in the loft today. They look fine. They look great. At 3, 4 days, they look fine. But about the seventh, eighth day, it's you start to see something different. That's just my thought. Seems like that's when the stress hits them. Maybe I'm wrong. What's wrong with beauty pageants. Well, Mike, there's nothing wrong with beauty pageants, and if you like a beauty pageant, that's fine. It's not really my cup of tea. And if it is a beauty pageant for pigeon men, why do they got to wear those stupid coats and act stuck up the ass and run around with their nose up in the air and 900 patches on their jackets? Like, and who wears these stupid jackets? Like, it's just ridiculous. I don't know.
I'll tell you one thing. They'd hate to walk outside in a parking lot and have the Hells Angels pull in and see them. They'd be taking them jackets off real quick.
Now, like Dave Crozier's, he has one that he made at home that he wears with his underpants on. He's got a feathers, like his little pigeon show coat on. He never wears it out. He wears that at home for his wife with his underwear on. And he runs around. I can see maybe doing that, but
Hey,
what can we say?
hey, listen, I went to a show a few years ago, a pigeon show. I think you and I went there, Ryan. And they wouldn't let you in because you didn't have your they wouldn't let me in because I didn't have my COVID shot. Can you imagine? And so we had to remember I had to get snuck in the back door to get into this place. And we drove all the way out to, I think it was Sarnia or somewhere, like way out there. And they said, "Well, you got your COVID shot?" Well, Ryan said, "Yeah, he had his." I said, "No, I haven't had." "Oh, well, you
Oh,
can't come in." So, well, oh man, like, holy shit. We drove
wow,
all the way from,
that was the COVID time, and again, they're in the show circuit. So does that
yeah, so
surprise
the
you?
show circuit. So they actually had to smuggle me in through the back door. And if
Oh,
you had to go to the
I thought
washroom, the girl at the door, she had to see your COVID vaccine. Like, holy shit.
oh, look at this
Okay.
one.
So,
Okay, so let me read the comments. Sean says, yes, I lost one of my imports from you. I got sick and died. Then I lost the four more. I'm sorry you lost all four that we sent you. Unbelievable. That's the pigeon world. My friend from Hawaii says, hey guys, being in birds since 1990, we are all trying to get master breeder the patches placed. Yeah, you know you can go to the you can get master breeder patches. All you gotta do is just go to the store and buy them, and you get them. You don't really have to win them because it's not a win. It's who kisses whose ass. That's how you win a pigeon show. Just saying.
well, you know what? I was
This
telling you,
last this last young bird season, for some reason, I didn't get young bird sickness. Who knows? Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Robert Daughtry says he is out there buying the patches now as we speak, and he's gluing them on. Ryan, you get the Feathers Elite badge. Nope, I wouldn't wear a Feathers Elite badge. Not interested. Not for a pigeon show.
Tom,
If I gave it to
Tom,
guys in a pigeon show, if we made our own badge up, it'd be the only badge that wouldn't still on a coat. Go ahead, Ricky.
okay, so I was telling you, I went to a pigeon show there. I think that was the one in Sarnia. I don't know. I went there. So I went to the Satinet department. So, I'm just kind of nosing around. I said, "Well, oh, you got Satinets. Oh, those are nice Satinets," I said to the guy. "Well, are they working Satinets?" "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, do you use them for like the way droppers or what?" "No, no, 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 no. These are show Satinets." I said, "Oh." I said, "Well, I have Satinets," and I said, they're a working class Satinet." And I said, "Let me ask you a question. Like, like they have a little frill, or like some of mine don't have frills, and they have the little thing in the back of the head." And I said, "Okay, some of mine don't have feathers on their feet. Like, what do I do?" But they're working Satinets. You know what he said? You know what he said to me? "Kill them all. Kill all the ones that don't have frills, all the ones that don't have a little thing, and all the ones that don't have feathers on their feet. Kill them all." So these are working class. They're working like,
Okay, so there you
oh,
go.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
how
and
can
I felt so heartbroken the way this guy told me. It was like, I said, "Well, wait a minute, my friend. Can your birds act as droppers? That's what I want them for. Well,
yeah.
I never tried them. Well, you know, and you're talking about young bird sickness, okay? I think a young bird sickness will start from a change of atmosphere, so the birds get stressed. Number one, a change into a loft with a different immunity. That's what hits them as well. Okay. Uh, Buddy said it's airborne. I don't know. And I think if you're feeding them too much high proteins, too much
No.
high protein feed, I think it's too much for them. They
No.
get charged up and then they get sick. Now, I'm
No.
going to show you something here. I'm going to show you something right now. Okay. I got a pigeon here. I called her Elsie.
Yeah, but young bird sickness doesn't come from the
Just
feed.
hold on a minute. This pigeon here, I don't know if you can see it.
No.
I'm going to take her out of the thing. I'm personally doing this from a good friend of mine. This pigeon here, oh, take it easy. This pigeon here, I took out of the nest at 3 days old.
Mm-hmm.
I hand fed it. I made mush feed out of hand grower pellets,
Right.
made it to mush, and fed her through an eyedropper. And then once she got off of that stage, okay, you see how
Right.
she is, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, once she got off that stage, then I put her onto again hand grower pellets, which is oh Elsie.
Okay, so what's the
One thing.
point? You don't pass young bird
No.
sickness
What
through
I'm
feed.
trying to do is try and educate people
On
what
what?
young bird sickness looks like and what to do.
Yeah,
So then
it doesn't come from the feed you feed.
I think it
It's
has
so
something to
ridiculous.
do with there's a couple
No.
three factors. Okay, is taking them, stressing them to go to another loft.
That's the only factor.
The stress of the immunity in a new loft, and also I think on feeding too high protein feeds.
There's nothing
And
in the
I think
feed. There's nothing in the feed.
hold on. So
It's the
wait a
stress of
minute.
moving and the lack of
Hold
vaccination.
on. Let me cut you off. So I've had this pigeon here right now. How old is she? She's got to be about 14 days old. See how
Oh,
she is underneath the wing?
she'll get it soon. Don't worry, it's coming.
No, just hold on. So I'm feeding her still the grower pellets. I'm feeding her mixed seeds,
Okay. Okay.
right? I'm
Right.
also hold on. I'm also feeding her. I want to give her the best in life because I really like her. I'm also feeding her. Do you see this?
Hemp. I know.
Okay, you
All
see
I.
that?
Okay.
I'm also, hold on a minute. I'm feeding her safflower and I have a mixture of that. I want to give her the best for her. Okay.
You're
I
putting it.
noticed,
You know what you're
hold
doing.
on a
You're
minute.
kissing
We
a
got lots
lot,
of time.
kissing
We
a
got
lot
lots
of
of time.
ass here. But
So
go ahead.
last night I noticed she started puking. Okay. Her bowel has been perfect. They're like marbles. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed last night she started having diarrhea. Okay.
Oh,
And I noticed all of a sudden Elsie started vomiting, puking. She started puking, like, puke. I said right away, I take her and her crop started swelling up with a lot of air.
right.
I said last night, 8 o'clock, I seen it. I took the water away, take the water away, let her sit the whole night till this morning. It was about 10 o'clock. Take it away. This morning at 10 o'clock, I put her on straight barley. See this? Straight barley. And
Holy
I'm
crap.
force feeding her. She's still not eating on her own. I
Okay.
put her on
You're doing a
straight
lot of
barley.
work. You know what? You're doing a lot of work, and you think that's young bird sickness. The bird gets young bird sickness. It doesn't have young bird sickness.
Now, what is it then?
It's not
That's a
mixed with other.
form of, no, I think it's too much high protein feed. It's too much for them. It's like a person eating maybe only steak every day, or, after a while, it's
Okay.
not good for you. You got to have a lower balance of feed.
You're not getting young bird sickness through feed. Can we
It's not. Oh, you don't think so?
No,
Okay. Now,
that's the most dumbest
Elsie.
thing I've
Okay,
ever
hold
heard.
on.
You know what?
Elsie.
You know what that
Elsie.
sounds like?
Elsie, right
A Miguel
now, her
statement.
droppings are back to normal, and her crop is
Well,
solid. Not
when she's eating good, put her out into the jungle, right? And then you tell me what she gets when you
okay.
put her out
Let
in
me
the jungle. Not that
hold
horse
on.
shit that you're
Stop.
doing there. You put her out
Stop.
in the jungle and
Tell.
you'll
Okay.
see.
Tell me what she had then. She got the flu yesterday,
I don't
and
think it was young.
if I
I
would have
don't
kept
think
her.
it was young bird sickness. You sound like
Okay.
the other wackadoos. Oh, I had young bird sickness for 3/4 of an hour, and then it went away.
I'm telling you, if I would have kept her on the feed I was giving her,
Hmm?
she would be in way worse shape. She was.
Okay.
I'm saying she's puking. Her whole
See,
sack was full of air, and I just took her right off the water. I said last night, no water, no feed till today about 10 o'clock. Then I
okay.
started
All right.
putting straight barley, straight barley
If you
into her.
think that was young bird sickness, and that was young bird
I
sickness,
think
then
it's a form of what is it? The flu, then,
I
right?
don't
All of a
know.
sudden,
It was too rich, something I don't know, but I don't think it was young bird sickness. I think it was any. I don't think it was young bird sickness. Don't say bird flu, as Dave Crozier says. The Canadian government. The Canadian government is a sponsor of the pigeon shows. They wear those stupid coats. You ever seen the Canadian government? The Canadian government vets. Boy, they look real hokey. I'm not knocking them, but boy, they look like the pigeon show people on the circuit. And again, I'm not knocking it. They just look real sensitive. Dave Crozier,
well, they got nice hairdos.
Dave Crozier is trying to become a professional pigeon show judge. He's into the wonderful world of rollers, but he is going to move that to the side to get into the show circuit. I can see Crozier as a pigeon show guy. JD Teal says, I
Ask
have
Dave
never
Crozier.
gotten young bird sickness. What I have noticed about the guys that are prone to it, they fly darkens. Well, yeah, young bird sickness comes through stress. I think that's where you see the young bird sickness. The more little tricks you play with the young birds, or sort of push the young birds, or add young birds, I think that's where you kind of see it come out. Mike Vanderyak, he's got a comment. I am thinking of feeding 95% peas and 4% barley and 1% fat. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Okay.
funny. It's funny, Mike. And this is a question.
Oh,
All
okay.
the
So,
all the breeding mixes that I see here, like we all talk about protein being the best, right? I don't see feeds here that are 90% peas for pigeons. In the Super Van Roby Super Breeding Mix, Versalaga's breeding mix, it's not 90% peas. I think if you're feeding that, I just don't think I don't think that's good in the pigeon diet. I think it's good to feed them feed that has proteins in them, but I
uh,
don't know if 90% peas is good.
okay. Let me ask you a question. Did Mike say that you should feed a lot of peas? Is that what Mike said, or
No, no,
he's
no.
saying peas cause the
Mike's
problem?
saying I'm thinking of feeding 95% peas and 4% barley.
Oh, I think. Okay. let me ask, I'm going to ask you the question again. I'm going to say, hey, Ryan, I got Elsie here. I took her from the parents. She was 3 days old. She was a little fuzzy thing that just came out of the egg. And I took her and I for an experiment. Okay. She's perfect. She's right. She was perfect. She was like 14 days, 15 days old now. And yesterday afternoon, I said, I got her here in the kitchen with me. All of a sudden, she got her droppings were like marbles. You could pick them up, put them in your pocket. All of a sudden, she got runs. She got the runs. All of a sudden, she started puking, throwing up, throwing up. I said, oh. I then said, no more feed, no water. Her crop started blowing up with air. Like it's like you push it a little bit, the air comes out. It's like, okay. I said, no more feed, no water from last night till about 10 o'clock this morning. I totally deprived her of it. Okay. Then this morning, I started pumping her with straight barley, giving her little bits of water, and now she's not puking anymore, and her droppings are perfect.
Okay. Well, I like to see when she gets out into the real world. I don't think that was Youngberg sickness. I just think
I'm saying real world. If hold on, if I'd have left her last night and still kept putting in this high protein feed that I got,
okay.
she
All right.
would be so damn sick. I cut her right back. I put her right on barley this morning and a little bit of water. Now your droppings are back to normal. She's not puking.
Okay. Well, obviously you cured Youngberg sickness just like that. Um.
Well,
Okay. So
my
can I get to the comments?
hey, go ahead.
So, does the CFI have special badges on their coat? Yeah, they do. They look like Special Olympians in a bad way. Mike Vanderyak says he hopper feeds peas. Okay. Sean says Youngbird's sickness is not the issue caused by stress, not what you are feeding. It's not by what you're feeding. Okay. Well, we know it is a virus. This is how my mentor did it. But Mike, I understand how your mentor did it. The question is, who was your mentor in the grand scheme of things? Again, I've done a lot of loft tours. Now, I've been to a lot of pigeon shows, and not one pigeon show, they have a bucket, they have a thing of their world class peas. These are the peas I feed the young birds because it's the best protein in the world. It's all a breeder's mix. It's a variety of feeds that have high proteins, fats, blah, blah, blah. But they don't just feed them straight peas. Now, your mentor, obviously, Mike, I think you're about 80 years old, so your mentor's got to be long and gone. You got to kind of evolve. I think, you know, the other day I was at a place, I'm going to use Kurt Platillo, and he brought out pellets, just like a turkey grower pellet, very high in protein. Yeah, I add this to the feed. That's the one thing I do add to the feed. Have the breeder's mix, and I add a little bit more of this pellet. It wasn't peas, wasn't this. It was a pellet, breaks down faster, blah blah blah. I just don't see anywhere that I've been, and any interview I've done where they say in the breeding season, I have a thing where it's always peas in front of them. I just don't see it.
Just for one moment there, the turkey grower pellet is about 19% or 22% protein. It digests real easy. I'm for it. Also, I'm using Special Kitty now, and it's got 22% protein, the high protein. And I'm figuring what I did to her was I fed her too much. I got the high protein pellets, and I was giving her
But I don't
the
think that was young bird sickness. I just think it was a bit too rich. Blah blah blah. I don't think that's young bird sickness.
I know when I looked at her, because she's only 14 days old, I thought,
Br- br-
Christ, this can't be young bird
br-
sickness, but it looks like it. She started puking. Her runs, the shit was coming out of her
Okay,
like
we already know
water.
this. We already know
Yeah,
this.
right. And then she was bloating up, like bloating up. You know how young birds are? If they got that, you hold them up and you just touch their crop, they start oozing out the shit that comes out of their mouth. And she was doing that. She was going to do that yesterday. And that's where I said,
Okay,
hey, right away, I'm a doctor, Ricky. I said,
okay.
no
Can I?
water,
All right.
no feed till at
Br-
least
br-
14 hours.
Okay. Yeah, you purge the system. Brian
Per-
said, "Do you guys ever see what Frank McLaughlin feeds?" No, I'm not interested in Frank McLaughlin. I think Frank McLaughlin's a fraud. He's a gypsy. And my thought of Frank McLaughlin is he's a pile of shit. In my opinion, Frank McLaughlin. Hey, sorry, Frank. You know why we say that? Because you're not a man of your word. You don't pay the job that gets done. Frank McLaughlin still owes me $50,000. So Frank, I don't even. Actually, Frank McLaughlin's not a pigeon man. He knows shit about pigeons. Talks with a soft voice. He's a coward, and Frank's a thief. Moving on from Frank McLaughlin. That's for Frank, because you know what? You got to rob from people that work hard for him. Drive all the way to Boston for groups of pigeons, and you don't pay the bill. Anyways, sorry, Brian, that was a sensitive spot. I'm not holding that on you, but don't waste your time on McLaughlin videos. Just a gypsy in the night. David Tracy says, is Ricky going to feed roasted soybeans? We talked about soybeans last year. You can feed the young pigeons soybeans, but I wouldn't feed the breeders the roasted soybeans because we found that the parents pump them. They'll pump them and they can't get enough water to digest them and break them down. Ricky, do you
Now,
agree
so,
on that?
okay, what I'm going to say about that, if you feed soybeans to your birds, they love the soybeans.
Mhm.
Roasted soybeans, I got them. They'll pump their young. Soon they pump their young ones. What happens is the soybean goes into the crop, and soon the moisture hits it. That little soybean that is like, wow, it's like as small as the end of this pen. The this part, yeah, it swells up to 3 or 4 times the size of it. And I should actually get some and do it and show you, but and then it goes in the crop of the young bird and it just swells up. And the young bird is full as can be, but then it dries up. It goes almost like the concrete because of the pigeon's body heat. And it's sitting there full, but it's dying from lack of moisture. So what I found, and it works, what I found, it works with soybeans. A soybean is when you actually I have a grinder and I grind up the soybeans, I grind up corn, and I grind up oats, and I grind her up, and I put that down a scoop of feed, a scoop into where the breeders are, and they go in there and they pick it. I can go get some. I got some in the feed room. And they get in there and they pick the soybean, oats, and corn all crushed up together. It's almost like a powder. And they love it. They feed it to their youngsters. It's
But that's
yeah.
it's broken down. That's almost putting it into making it almost into a pellet form. The reason
Yeah.
why I think they're using pellets or pellets are good when you're breeding is because it breaks down fast into the system. It's easy for the youngster to digest. We talked about the roasted soybean. They love to eat them and pump them. The problem is you can't get the youngster enough. The parents can't pump enough moisture to dissolve the bean. The bean takes a lot of moisture to dissolve it and break it down.
Once it goes in, and
That's
the bean
and
is
then it's
very high on
yeah.
protein. It's high on fats. It's very good. But when I put those beans through the grinder and it comes out, actually I can go into the feed room and get you some to show you.
No, no, it's okay. It's okay.
They
We get-
just love it. And the other thing, oats, ground up oats in there. Yeah, if you feed a oat, uh, raw oat, it's hard for those pigeons, feed oats. I know barn plugs, they eat oats like you won't believe it, but these, it's kind of like the long oat thing, and it's like, oh no, we don't want to eat oats. But if you grind that up and put it into make like a what do you call it? Like a mash. Man, they love it. And oat is very good, very you know what the old saying is, watch out. He's feeling his oats.
All right. So JD Teal says, I use a homemade tea. I give two a week and never have any issues with young birds. Club mates birds got stuck, missed 2 weeks, and mine never got it. Okay, well, I don't know if it's the tea. I think it's a bit of luck there. I don't know if the tea, I'm sure the tea helps, but I don't know. I'm more than happy to share the recipe. Well, JD, if you want to post the recipe, go ahead. Um, Again, here they vaccinate for the young bird sickness. If they get it, they get it.
What's that, Ryan?
Alan
Ryan,
says she probably had food poisoning. Maybe she had food poisoning.
who, Elsie?
Mike Vaniak says, I never seen anyone do it either. No, I know no one does it either.
Does what?
Except for me and a few students. Oh, I know, but Mike, I'm just saying it's a great idea if you want to have the hopper full of peas and that's something that you want to do. Good. I just
So,
don't. I don't.
so,
I,
so
I don't think you. I don't think you got to have a hopper full of peas. I think if you're using a breeding mix and you want to add, okay, you want to add a little bit more peas, fine.
okay, so let me
Or
ask
or
let me
pellet.
ask you let me ask you the question. If he's got a hopper full of peas,
Mhm.
so the birds go and take the peas when they need it,
Right.
okay?
Mhm.
It's not like he's not like, I don't think
Well,
he's
no,
feeding
he
peas.
said he's feeding 95% peas and 4% barley.
That's it.
I don't
That's
know.
it.
That's what he wrote. Maybe I read it wrong.
Well, I
I
just
don't
heard
know. I don't think.
I what I heard you say is he has a hopper full of feed. So
Oh,
that means they got a pea hopper, and if they want, they can eat the other corn or whatever they're eating. And if they want peas, they just go over to the pea hopper. That's what I'm saying. That's what it sounds to me. And I'm just wondering how much
Mike
peas
wrote
percent.
this. I'm thinking of feeding 95% peas and 4% barley and 1% flat. I guess fat. There you go. That's
Fat.
what Mike wrote. I don't know what he's feeding. Sounds like he's feeding
So that
95% peas.
what would that be, fat then? Peanuts
What the
or
what the hell what the
or
hell's the point of feeding
or
1% fat? What's the point of it?
faba beans?
What's the point of feeding 1% fat? Why don't you feed 20% protein, 20% fat, 20% carbohydrates? I don't know. I get tired on that, but that's okay. So we got some more comments. Robert Daughtry. Not the breeding season year round. Not in the breed. Oh, Mike's thinking of feeding it year round. Well, Mike, yeah, I recommend you feed just 100% peas years around. What? Who was your who? Can I ask who was your mentor? What kind of Mike? I think you just do this to sound outside the box in a weird way, but I don't think 95% peas and 4% barley all year round. I don't think that's very swift, but whatever you want. Robert Dodger says, "Can I wear my coat at the Pioneer final race? You can wear your coat. You can wear whatever you want with your badges. If you have too many badges on your coat, I don't know. We'll throw food at you." Uh Mm, Milk kefir probiotic will help with bloating. Okay, milk kefir probiotic. Okay. Mike Green says, I've used feed and quality high protein feed and very well doing that way. So mixes of feeds that have high proteins. Milton says, I add high protein and small kibble from dog food for my breeders and never had problems with young bird sickness. Again, I think young bird sickness does happen when they kind of mix. No, it's not that Frank McLaughlin doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. I'm sure his ideas are good. I just don't listen to a guy that don't pay his bill and is a complete I think a kind of a scam guy. I don't watch Frank McLaughlin shows. I was friends with Frank for a while. I helped Frank out. If you want to listen to Frank McLaughlin, you can. I'm sure he's got some tips and stuff. Sure. But I'm not promoting Frank on my show. I don't think I'm not gonna sit beside Frank McLaughlin and have a beer with him. If that's what you're asking. So on this show here, at this club here, I just say how it is.
Hey, listen, you thought he was a friend till he ripped you off. Bottom line.
That's right.
Guess
So
what? He sucks you in. He's a con artist and then rips you off. He's a solid, quiet little guy, you know, and then he turns around and rips you off, which we have 100% proof. So that's it. We know. Have you ever been ripped off by him yet, buddy?
and
Whoever you
again,
say, yeah, that's it.
and again, whatever his ideas are, Go watch his show. You know, I don't know. Sorry, Four Seas Loft. I'm not against you. I'm just giving you my opinion. I don't watch anything from Frank. I don't listen from shit from his mouth because he's full of shit most of the time. Sean says, so Ricky, how do you treat for young bird sickness? I know what works for me. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts, Ricky, when you get young bird sickness? What do you do?
What do I do? I'll put them on straight barley for about a week. That's it. I'll give them electrolytes in the water, and I won't give them too much water. Once they eat, they take a drink. I take the water away. You leave the water there for them, all they do is drink, drink, drink. They swell up, they start throwing up, and then they get the runs. So give them barley for about a week. Straight barley. That's it.
Yeah, and I do find it is one of those things that sort of has to run its course. There's those birds that are going to get through it, and there's those birds that are going to they're going to die from it.
Hey, Ryan, in Europe, don't they have that, what is it, Rota B virus? It's supposed to get rid of young birds.
They vaccinate the youngsters and that, and you
Okay.
always hear
Does
the
it-
same thing. They let it run the course, or the ones that got it, it's too bad, they just eliminate.
I hear they say, oh, we vaccinate with Rota B, we vaccinate with Rota B, but then they do say, oh, you know, the sickness, when it hits. So I almost think that Rota B is kind of like a.
No, I think it help. Listen, I think it helps. But I think they gotta get it, and they gotta get through it. If they don't go through it, then there's some that's get it and can't get through it. You have to play it out. What brand of pellets do you prefer? You know what? Just a high protein pellet. Look at the pellets. There's all different kinds of them. If you do a bit of research, you can get pellets from 17% up to 22%. That's it. And you don't have to feed them straight pellets, but you put a percentage in. And I think a big thing that people do wrong is they'll feed 100% pellets. And what happens is it screws up the bird's just digestive tract. A pigeon is not meant to eat pellets. He's got to have feed. The feed gets the system running. So the crop grinds up the feed. A pellet doesn't grind up, it dissolves and melts. For example, take a handful of pellets and put them into hot water. They turn into muck in a minute, right? They turn into muck in a half hour. They're dissolved, and it self dissolves in the heat and the moisture. But you take feed, put it in hot water, warm water, water. It maybe gets a bit soft, but take a look how long it takes. Take a look how long it takes to break down. So I think you got to feed the pigeons feed, and I think you add some pellets to it 5%, 10% pellets. Okay, it's good. That way, they're learning to enjoy to eat the feed. You need them to eat feed. We've had it in the one off race. Ding dongs feed 100% pellets. What was that ding dong's name? Sorry, Ken Lavoie. They give me shit. Sorry, Kenny. Kenny, you're a show guy with the badges. Don't mean to say nothing, Ken. But he brought Princess. Goddamn pigeons would only eat pellets. If we weren't feeding pellets, the pigeons wouldn't eat. They didn't know how to eat any grain. Well, I feed 100% pellets all year. That's what my show birds eat. Okay? Birds didn't have the taste buds for grains. They starved.
And I heard you talking about digesting feed, which the pellet, I give about, I'd say about 20% pellets in the feed, in my feed. The hen grower pellets, they're 18%. I also feed special kitty cat food.
All right. Okay.
Especially with the seafood mix. As a matter of fact, I just bought a whole skid, which was 56 bags on this skid, which I add to my feed. Okay. I got a great deal from Walmart. Okay.
Yeah.
And I add that in. And I'm just showing you right now. This is
okay.
what.
So can I read the comments again? You know, I've Mike Vaniak says his mentor was Roy Bunson. I don't know who Roy is. I'm sure Roy is great. Probably a good pigeon guy. I've never heard of his name. But again, I haven't heard of everyone's name. Brian Mayer says roasted soybeans is very high in protein and easy to digest from a high protein. The roasted, here's the thing. When you wean the young birds and the young birds are on their own, and the parents are done feeding them, you can feed them more soybean because the young pigeon can eat the soybean and he knows how much water he's got to drink. When they're in the nest and the parents are pumping the soybean to them, I don't think the parents can get enough moisture in it. Isn't that what we're talking about, Seven?
Well, what happens is when they pump the young bird with soybean, there is moisture going in. When the old bird eats the soybean, the parent, it's a small little thing. It's like a pea.
Mm-hmm.
And soon he eats it. It's a pea going in. Soon the parent drinks water to pump his youngster. He goes and pumps the soybean, which is like a pea, goes into the youngster. Soon it goes in. The moisture that gets pumped plus the heat, the body heat, the soybean swells up to maybe 3 or 4 times the size of it, what it is. So then what it does, as it swells, watch Ricky, it's like concrete, man. And it's like the parent goes over and the young bird's full of feed because it's all pumped up, but it dries, it goes in there like concrete, and that's it. And like you said, soon the youngster's wean, he eats a couple soybeans, swells up, he needs a drink of water, he takes the old water, and everything goes down. Like what I said.
Have you not found a better result feeding a soybean when They're not being pumped when the bird eats it on its own and goes for water.
Okay, yeah, I find that exactly right. But with the high protein and the fat value of a soybean, if what I do is I put it through the grinder, it comes out all broken up, the soybean in little
Yes,
pieces.
we know that. So it breaks
Right.
it down. But what I am saying, listen to what I am saying. If you want to feed soybeans, I think, just my thought, feed the maybe 2% in your mix, fine, no problem. I wouldn't feed 100% or 50%, no. But when the young birds are weaned off and they're doing their own thing, you want to add 5% soybeans. The young birds will then eat it and go to the water as they need the water to break it down. When they're in the
Okay.
nest bowl and they can't get to the water, the babies, and they're saying to their parents, pump me with water, and they don't pump them with water, they can't break it down. Anyways, let me read the next comment. Okay. Four C's Law, 50,000. I wouldn't fuck with him either. Better give me the damn money. You know what? He's not going to give the money. He took the money and he run. You know what? I did the work. He built up credit. And when you got 50,000 in the bank, you don't pay the guy who does the work. That's Frank McLaughlin. And I don't want to keep going on about Frank McLaughlin. Frank knows what he's done. And Frank won't come into a room with me because I'll point him out right away every time. You see Frank and you want to say hi to him, tell him he knows what he did. He took something good and he effed it. That's Frank McLaughlin. Mike Vanderyak. Peas are 22% protein and 76% carbs and 2% fat. Mike, feed them 100% peas.
So
Mike,
wait a
if you
minute.
want to feed them peas, go ahead. I don't tell
Wait,
people to
I
not.
don't know. What kind of peas is he feeding? Because I don't
Does
believe
it?
they're that high in
Can I
protein.
ask you a question? He said
I
that his
think
mentor, Roy Orbison, or whoever his name is, right? You ever heard who Roy
Roy
is?
Orbison,
No,
you
I
know,
don't know. Roy McGee or Roy, whoever the hell it is. Let's get the
hey,
name out. So I'm not wrong here. Roy Boy. What the hell's the name? I gotta
oh,
find the name again.
what was it? The guy that sang that song? Pretty woman walking down the street,
Uh,
pretty woman, the kind I like to meet, pretty woman, oh, coming down the street. Was that the same guy,
I
Roy
don't
Orbison?
I don't know. His mentor, Roy, whatever his name is, Roy somebody. I
Roy
don't know.
Rogers?
A guy I haven't heard of because I'm not from whatever. But I mean, I've talked to Guy Vandenauer. They make the goddamn feed at Van Roby's. They don't have a bag of feed that they sell that this is the breeding mix. Feed this year round or for the breeding season. That's 95% peas. So
Now,
let me ask you, all the lofts I went to, they don't feed 90. I don't see in anyone's loft bags of peas sitting around. I see bags of corn,
okay,
but
wait a minute.
I see a sneaky mix, I see a fatty mix, I see a depurative mix, but I don't see bags of peas sitting around.
Okay, let me ask you the question just as a person
Oh.
standing on the side of the road. Who in the hell is this Vanderboys you're talking about? How long have they been in business? Is this a
I don't
guy
know.
that's just mixing feed?
Van Roby's, I don't know. They're the top pigeon feed producers. I mean,
How
look at
long they
Versa.
been in business?
Yeah,
How
I
long
don't
they
know. They've
been
been
in
in business.
business?
Look at, they got pigeon dietitians. I
Uh,
mean, I
uh,
go to
so
buyers. Go to buyers. They don't no. They don't sell you a bag of a breeder mix with 100%
just
peas. You go
hold
to
on a minute. Hold on a minute. I know Mike Vanderyak. He's a pigeon dietitian as well because he's just telling us what to
okay.
what. So
Somebody wrote this. Okay. 95% peas is not sufficient breeding feed. You will regret it and you will lose young bird races. Barley not good for their throat regulation either.
well, whoever said that, I appreciate. But if you got clean barley, it's very good. It not for the throat. It's whoever
Oh.
said that. I hate to say it, but I don't know who you are, but I hate to say it to you. You don't know
So
what the hell
okay,
you're talking about.
so David Tracy says Prina used to make a pigeon pellet. Do they still do it? I don't know. I'm not in the States, so I don't know what Prina does. David Robert Daughtry says a Tractor Supply. A chicken or a turkey grower pellet. Again, just look at the pellets and you'll see. You just
What?
look at the percentage on them.
You know what? If I could say something, I get the hen grower pellet, and what I like about it, it's a smaller cut pellet. The turkey grower pellet. I don't know if you could see that. These pellets are about half the size of a turkey grower pellet. So the pigeons easily pick them up. Like, I don't know if you could see that. Like, it's easy for the what I like about this. This is 18%. I think turkey grower is about 22%, but the pigeons pick it up real easy. Uh, it's like, a nice smaller. I like the cut of it. It's half, the pellets are half the size of a turkey grower pellet. You know, if you go and get rabbit pellets and you want to add that to it, they're quite a bit larger. But you know what? Pigeons will eat anything, whatever you get them to eat. You can feed them. Remember last year, a year before, Mike, I give them make no Harvey's French fries with gravy on it, and
Well, yeah,
they love eating that.
it's once they get used to eating it. You feed them a rabbit pellet with alfalfa. Great. When you first give it to them, and if they're not hungry enough, they ain't going to eat it. But if you say, today we give you some rabbit pellets and don't eat it, you don't feed them for a day, they slowly start to learn to eat it. Once they get the taste of it, they eat it. Whatever
That's right.
pellets, take a look at the protein level and feed a percentage of it 10%, 5%, 15%. Feed them a regular breeder mix, then give them some pellets. Give them some pellets first and the breeder mix. But reminder, all the feed that, let's say, a Van Robies makes for breeders, the breeders got to eat the whole mix. You don't keep feeding and feeding and feeding and feeding, and they leave all the small stuff, or they leave all the peas, or they leave all the pellets. That's not how you want to feed pigeons. The pigeons got to eat what you put down.
100%. I with my mix of feed, I put the feed in, put it in, and soon I see uh, a little. I see a bit of barley left. Guys are
Hold
getting a drink and
on.
barley. No,
Hold
they don't get no
on.
more feed.
Four C's Lost says he's learning about soybeans. And I'm going to say something about the soybeans. Ricky, you ground the soybeans up for the chickens with the corn because you make a mash up, right?
Yeah.
Pigeons love that kind of stuff. It's easy to pick, it's easy to break down, it goes into the system faster. I think it's a good way to feed it to them. It's a good way to give them the protein. And if you break the stuff down and you mix it in with your regular feed, the dust and the flour from the soybeans or the corn or the oats, the dust of it, it coats the feed. Listen, a lot of guys here feed the pink mineral. They mix the pink mineral onto the feed. It gets onto the feed, it coats it like a flour. The pigeons are eating the pink mineral. They don't have to put the pink mineral out in a grit pot and it goes bad. They mix it onto the feed. They use the feed that the birds are going to eat and they add to it. So I think grinding up certain feeds, corn, soybeans, whatever you're grinding up, oats, whatever, that ground up powder, dust as they call it, flour is what it is, coats the feed. It's a great way to add that in. Now, Mike Vanderyak says trapper peas. Mike Vanderyak says Roy Bunson. Again, I don't know who Roy Bunson is. I thought it was
I
Roy Orbison, but it's Roy
I
Bunson.
probably
Do you know
I
who Roy Bunson
probably
is?
Yeah, I've heard of the name. I probably know the fellow. I think maybe he passed away. I probably, if I seen him, I say, "Hey, I know you," but I can't remember his name. I know the guy. I heard the guy's name. I know the guy, but I can't put a picture to him. If I see him on the street, I'm probably going to know him. But yeah. So who the hell is Roy Butson?
Right. Well, that's the thing. Roy is Mike's mentor and taught Mike everything he knows. Okay, Roy. I mean, Mike. I I do. I'm not knocking all the P's, but I'm just not thinking running P's straight. I'm thinking running maybe at the most 20% P's. But in all the mixes that I see here for racing, there's no P's in the mixes for racing. For breeding, there's a percentage of P's. A percentage. Percentage. It's not a bag of. Here's the breeding mix from Versalaga with 85% P's. So I'm going to have to say, good old Roy boy. Roy who, Roy where from, and what? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there, Mike. And I'm sure Roy was a great guy. I'm wondering
Right.
if Roy would have adapted to modern day. Maybe
What should
Roy
I
would.
say, Ryan? I
I'll
just
believe
went
it.
on the internet and I looked up Vanderboy's feed.
Van
It said
Robies. Can you get the
Van
name right?
Robies, Van Robies, and it says they've been in business for 50 years with special feed mixture. 50 years. I don't think they're mixing the feed out of their garage.
Well, it I don't know. As JD Teal says, who's feeding peas? Someone who knows f all about feeding pigeons. And that's not what I say to be rude, but
I don't believe, Mike, I'm not going to call you a liar, but I don't believe the pea has 22% protein. I think Mike said that. I believe it's around 12 or 14% maximum. That's what I believe. I
I
don't
got
know
I
where you
got
got
breeder mixes. I
22%.
got breeder mixes out in the garage here from Van Robies. I look at them, and there's peas in it, but I don't look at the mix and go, ooh, this is 85% peas. It's peas. And the other thing is, when you're feeding the pigeons, they got to eat all the feed. And guys, I think this is a big mistake when you're
Ye-
feeding pigeons. And you know, one guy who was really good, I really enjoyed him, was Luca Campanini. We had an auction for him. Again, people say our prices are out of this world. He sold really some real damn good pedigreed pigeons, and he's a top flyer, and then they went for free. But anyways, that's okay. But I liked how he fed his pigeons. He fed them by the spoon, and he said, "My pigeons eat what I give them because feed's expensive, and these pigeons have to eat every little thing in the feed. It's like a plate of dinner. You eat your peas, your Brussels sprouts, your piece of chicken, your piece of bread, your corn on the cob, your glass of water, and your Jello. You eat all of it. You don't just
Hey,
keep
Ryan,
eating chicken, chicken, chicken."
Ryan, as you
Ro-
know, as
Robert
you know,
Robert Dotry says, "Yeah,
our bloodline is from Belgium, and my parents both raised in Belgium. They came here in 1951. Okay, right. We were raised at the table. My dad put out on the table. He said, "You eat everything. You eat the fat off the pork chop. Whatever we put on the table, mom and dad put on the table, you eat it. If you don't eat it, you sit on the table and you sit there. And if you don't want to eat it at the end of the night, you could sit there all night long. You go up to your bedroom, the next day, you're going to eat what I put on the damn table." And to this day, I'm the same way.
listen,
I was
listen,
trained.
listen. You feed young birds. You want them to eat large corn, or you want them to eat this, or you want them to eat that. You give them, you call them in, boom, you give them a little bit of their feed, then you give them the stuff you want them to learn how to eat. When they eat all that, you give them back the feed they like. You get them used to eating different things. But looking at bags of feed, it's all there's no bag that's feeding one thing. I'm not saying that Mike's wrong, but I just don't. I don't think. I think it's. I just don't think it's smart to feed them one thing. Robert Daughtry says Europeans don't like to use peas. No. Brian Mater says koi fish pellets. Yeah, fish pellets are high in protein. Again, feed them a percentage of it. If you want to feed a little bit of fish pellet, sure. You want to feed egg food, sure. It's a percentage.
Hey,
And
go to the store and buy a bag of cat food. I'm saying you don't want to get rid. Cat food is very expensive. If you buy a little 2 kilo thing of cat food, it could cost you $40. Go and get the Whiskas cat food or get the special kitty with seafood in it. Protein's very high. The
yeah,
seafood in there has a lot of oil,
well, and
right?
it's an animal fat. That's right. Okay,
Yeah.
so Seven Hills Law says Prina still makes a good pellet. Yeah, Prina still does it. It's they have a pigeon gold pellet and green vegetable pellet. There you go. Four Seas Loft says, I believe that barley is important. Yeah, barley is important for barley is important in any mix. In any mix, you can put 1%, 2%, 5%, 10% barley. When pigeons will always eat barley and leave it at the end. Barley, even if you put 2% barley in your mix, and you're not the best feeder, when the pigeons leave the barley, they're done eating because that's normally the last thing they'll leave.
Or
So I think barley is very good in a mix.
soon you see them go for that drink of water. That's it. And that's it. Uh, you maintain a good body weight. Um, and Ryan, you know a guy that's into muscle building, Paul Whiteman. Uh, you know what he said to you one day about when you eat a meal at the table, and this is a good advice. What did he say to you?
Yeah, it was actually really smart. He said to me, he said, go make yourself a plate of food. However you want, however much you want to eat, put it on your plate. And he said, here's the rule though. You can eat as soon as you take a drink. Water, milk, beer, wine, whatever you have a drink of. As soon as you pick up that glass for your first drink, you have to stop eating. It's done.
Yeah,
It's finished. And I said,
yeah.
well, why is that? He said, because that's your body saying you're okay there. That's the first. Whoop. Now, he says, of course, you can have your first drink. You sit back for a second, and then you get back to eating again. Yes. But your system, when your body tells your system, when you have that first drink, you are at the level already of you're satisfied. So
And
interesting.
if
Mike,
we all, hey, listen, if we all did that in this world, we'd be in a lot better health.
you
And
want me to
that
tell you
makes sense.
want me to tell you something? Amazing. I was watching a podcast. I can't remember who it was. It was Joe Rogan or some shit. And they showed a video from like, I don't know, 1919 in America. And this video or this photo of all these Americans or all these people in the city walking around, right? It was like a photo. They just took a photo. And they were dressed fine, like they were clean, right? But
Mm,
everyone was skinny. Everybody in the photo was thin and trim, right?
mhm.
And he showed the same photo of this, it's the same type of photo now today. Everyone's heavy, obese, fat, like myself, or like overweight. It's because the foods that we're eating, the shit food that we're eating. In those days, they ate real food. Hey, they were poor, they had no money, they had tomato soup for dinner and a piece of bread. They couldn't get they couldn't get chicken, they couldn't get steak, they couldn't get this. They get it once a week maybe. They ate like poor people. They ate rationed food. They weren't going to McDonald's and pumping full of shit, microwave dinners, bags of potato chips. They didn't eat that shit. But when you see it in the photo, you can't believe how humans have changed in 100 years. The human, I don't want to see what a human's going to look like in 100 more years. We'll look like, the chickens that you breed for slaughter. That's
Yeah.
what we'll look like, because all we do is eat shit.
And
I hate to
I'll tell
say
you
it.
something. I'll tell you something. The chickens that you breed for slaughter, for meat, once they pass the 12-week mark, these pigeons are bred, or pigeons, these chickens are bred to grow and gain weight. Once you pass that mark, you
Lindsay,
risk
hold on.
the chicken, most of them get so obese they die from heart attacks. If you
Okay,
don't slaughter them at that time, they're going to die from heart attacks. They just keep
Lindsay.
bloating up, and that's it.
Okay. So coming up to Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions, I got an interview for you guys. You're going to blow your socks off. Remember the word linseed, okay, Ricky? I'm going to get to the comments, but uh,
Linseed.
Mirko and Darko Milovic, they're from the north part of Belgium here. They live in the north part of Antwerp. They are extreme long distance flyers. They do the Barcelonas, the Perpignans. They're at the farthest part of Belgium, and they have national top results. They're one of the best long distance lofts. They came from Slovakia 25 years ago. I was there on the weekend with them. We selected some pigeons for an auction, but their common sense, they're a lot like Derek Walsh. They don't like buying pigeon products, shit that manufacturers make for pigeons. They like to manufacture it themselves. They have a special juice that they make, okay? And the juice is they put it on the feed, and it's like a Derek Walsh juice. They call it a go-go juice or whatever it is. And they bought an expensive juicer, and they go and they found a local garlic farmer, right? And they went to the store and they bought bags of onions. You will not believe this. So, uh, because they're Slovakian, or where they're from, they've got a plum liqueur. Okay, it's plum liqueur. Very nice stuff. It's strong. It's like grappa. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say too much because this is for their interview. They gave me two recipes, and I thought it was brilliant and genius, and I tried them both. They took the onions and they put through the juicer to put 2 bags of onions through a juicer. Juice the onions. They juiced 15 kilos of garlic. They juiced it. Okay? They made a bucket of juice. And then they
Mm.
put 2 or 3 of these big bottles of liquor into the onion juice and garlic juice, and they stirred it. And they put her into
Wow.
glass jars. And it
Yeah.
looks like swamp water, right?
Yeah.
He brought it out. I'll tell you, it looked like what it looked like to me, right? It looked like when you got the, what's that called? The Mexican, what's that called?
Montezuma's Revenge.
Yeah, right into the bowl. He shakes
Yeah.
it up. He says, listen, we put this on the feed a couple times a week, and we cover it with then the pink mineral. It's onions, garlic, and liquor. We give this to the pigeons. He's going to show it this week at the show when I go to his house.
Wow. Wow.
And I tasted it. You will not believe this. I said to him, son of a bitch, you could use that as a salad dressing. He says, yeah. I said, well, why would you put the liquor in it? He says, the liquor, it keeps the garlic and the onions from fermenting. It has to be put in there. And he says, this liquor, it's a natural cleaner. It's good for your system. A percentage of it, right? Another
Mm.
thing he did, I thought was ingenious. He makes it for when the pigeons come home. The pigeons are out at a race. Barcelona, Perpignan, whatever it is, they take rice, oats, linseed, and barley, right? They put it in a pot of water like they're making rice and they boil it low until it becomes muck. They then
Yeah.
take that muck and they put it into the water and they concentrate it. Says the pigeons rebuild super fast. Super fast. Again, these are things that Derek Walsh talked about. Funny how it is, eh? How these champions find the same stuff. Anyways, as for oils, what kind of oils? Oils, peanut oil, linseed oil, flaxseed oil, uh, hemp oil. I even think olive oil. A lot of good fats in it. Avocado oil. Again, oil, you can use oil, but use it sensibly. Get your feed, oil it up, then put something on the feed. And here's something. You can oil the feed up, put the oil on the feed so it's nice and shiny, right? And that's when you can add your pink minerals. You can add your soybean that you ground up. You add it on top of that feed, and it coats the feed, and that's good. So that's for Chris Marshman. Forsy's Law. Well, we know
I
Roy
don't.
didn't use droppers. For LC's Loft. four, four C's Loft says, calls Mike out. Mike, did Roy O'Bear, or whatever his name is, Roy Robinson, Roy Boy, we're going to call him Roy. Super Roy. Did Roy use droppers? That's a good question because Four C's Loft thinks that Roy didn't use droppers. I'm probably with Four C's.
Okay, I
After the
agree with
flush laughs.
I agree with you making up this feed with the oil and you're putting the pink mineral and all that. I don't like to feed that. I like to let that sit for a day before I feed it. I like everything to soak in, get all together, everything soaks in. I like to
Yeah,
keep that for a day. So a day before I'm going to make that mix, I make it, I feed it the next day. Do you understand me?
yeah. You know what? I think whenever you're putting stuff on the feed, I think if you give it time to penetrate is better. I think if you're putting oil on the feed though, I'm just going to say peanut oil or hemp oil or whatever. It's not really going to soak in. So I think you can oil the feed. Hey, oil it for an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours. Oil it up. Put your pink mineral on so it's going to stick good. Feed it fine. If you're going to be putting uh, yellow drops, I think let it soak in. I think it's a little bit better. But again, it's what you want to do. If you want to sprout feed, you got to soak it and let the feed soak up. Now we got some more comments. Let's get to these comments. You guys are really doing good tonight. We're having a good show tonight. Believe it or not, Ricky. I wasn't in the show zone, but you guys fired it all up. Calf meal pellets are very good, but have to feed lightly. Get it at the Tractor Supply store. Okay, that's in the States. B says, I don't know who B is. I don't know what his name is, but that's his YouTube name. His name is B. Babies in the nest. The young birds cannot properly digest 95% peas. Sorry, I cannot see how this is possibly a good mix for breeding or racing. This is
I I
this
I
is
think
known by experienced racers. Now, what this B gentleman says,
I,
I'm
I
not.
believe I
He's
believe
right.
what he's saying is right. A pea is the same as a bean. Do you get me? A soya bean, a fava bean,
But
a tick
my,
bean.
my
They're all things that swell. Just take a raw bean, put it into a any kind of bean. A bean, a pea, and a bean. They're all in the same. What should I say? They're all in the same.
hey, put it this way. I had a friend that was making chili the other day. Okay, and they took beans for chili. and they
Right.
had to soak them in water. They soaked them in water overnight to soften them. You want me to tell you what happened?
What?
They weren't soft enough after 24 hours of soaking. Right? That's a bean. It didn't break down. Couldn't break it down. Soaking them in water over 24-hour period. All I can tell you is I'm going to be doing shows with Guy. We're going to ask him, should we be feeding 95% peas? I'm going to use peas because this is what Mike said. I've never seen them do it. I never seen off the camera Guy nudge me and go, hey, Ryan, the secret to nice youngsters. Feed them 95% peas. Have a hopper full of peas waiting. There's none of that shit, man. I give them the breeder mix. They eat the breeder mix. Everything is in there that needs to be in there. It's designed by pigeon dietitians. Think about how easy it would be to just sell bags of peas to breed out beautiful youngsters. So, Mike, I think it's a good controversy. I wouldn't. I don't know. B says wrong. The guy is right. Peas are very close to 23% protein. I know this for a fact. Okay, peas. That's great that they're that. That's great. But should you just eat peas?
Hey, listen. If you eat just straight steak every night, only steak, good steak every single night, I don't. That's it's too much,
All right.
right?
Well, Mike says his feed store carries bags of 100% trapper peas. Mike, I want you to feed the peas all you want. You can feed them, and don't use droppers either. Feed the peas and the droppers, and don't use droppers. I'm just not telling anybody to feed 100% peas.
You know what? Hey, Mike, remember what I said? Pigeon Man, out of 100% what he says, 1% is a lie. And if we listen to that lie,
Wait,
now we're
hold
in
on.
trouble.
Now, B, I think I wrote what B said is wrong. So B just said to Mike, sorry, B, I don't know who you are. Your name is screwing me up here. But B says wrong, Mike. The guy is right. Peas are very close to 23% protein. I know this for a fact. He's saying that this is wrong. B saying peas may vary a little from country or different areas, but a pea are never near 12% protein. I've never seen a pea being 23%. I'm going to agree with B.
Hey, listen, I came on there about a half an hour ago about peas. And as far as I know, a pea is between 12 and maybe 14% at the very highest. A regular pea, like a trapper pea, or what do they call them? The brown peas. What do they call them again? Maple.
I don't
What do
know.
they call?
I don't know.
What do they
I'm
call?
not a pea user, so I don't pay
Yeah, what
attention
do
to
they
it.
call brown peas? They call them
Maple peas, green
maple
peas,
peas, green
trapper
peas,
peas.
chopper peas, and that. And a lot of guys go, "Oh, I'm not feeding green peas." They're like, "Oh no, no, no," and all this shit. Well, and if I want protein, peas got the highest protein of all the grains. And they're about 12, in my knowledge, 12 or 14%. Now, if I want to go with more protein, then I'll go and get turkey grower pellets or hen grower pellets, or I'll feed cat
Yeah,
food.
okay. I know. We talked
Right.
about this. Brian Mader says, I've seen even guys put Sproina green algae powder on the feed, high in protein. Yeah, you can do this. You can put different stuff, but it's a percentage. It's a treat. You're mixing it in to add to it. You've got to have a blend of. If you're feeding 5 grains, you're going to breed a better youngster than feeding 5 grains instead of 1 grain. Hold on. Mike's going back to in 1909, the life expectancy in the United States was approximately 52 years old or 50 years old. for males and 53 for young females. Okay, Mike, I don't know.
Hey,
What are we talking about? Wait. In
no,
20, wait a minute. In 2024, the life expectancy in the United States is 79. This represents a slight increase from previous years. Well, sure, Mike, because back in 1909, it was a harder time. You had to work harder, blah, blah, blah. But they ate a hell of a lot, I think a hell of a lot healthier. They weren't eating a bunch of processed shit. And the other
so
thing,
what
you don't
you're
have to go to
saying
the
is,
hospital and get a bunch of drugs pumped into you to keep you going.
so what you're saying is, I think Mike's right.
Oh.
We are becoming,
Listen,
I don't
I'm
know.
on heart medication, right? In 1909, I probably wouldn't have got that. I'd be dead, right?
You'd be
Right.
dead.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
it.
Well, wait a minute. But they're pumping me with shit to keep living.
So
So of course the
basically,
life expectancy's got to go up. They're pumping you full of shit. You're getting medication and drugs. But I still think when you look at the photo that the guy posted, why weren't the people obese? Why were they trim and lean and they looked like they could go to work?
they could
You
dance
ever
all
you
night
ever go
long.
to you ever walk in a Walmart and look at the people walking around? They're out of
Yeah,
shape.
I remember when I was a kid, my mother never bought. We never had chocolate chip cookies, Oreo cookies, all this shit. We never had the stuff you could put French fries on, or we never had. There was no McDonald's, none of this, no Subway shops, none of this shit. We never had that. We never had it. Ask Mike. Mike's there. He's never had it.
My
Mike's, how old
my
is Mike? Mike's
my
what,
friend,
52
my
years old?
my friend, you want to see something sad? Look at the young people, the kids today, and what the parents feed them. Chicken fingers, french fries, potato chips, hot dogs, all processed shit. I'm going to tell you this. I went out last year with Nicholas and Philip Norman, and Nicholas brought his daughter, who was 11 years old. We went to a very nice restaurant. I couldn't believe my eyes. We're sitting there, and she ordered a Perrier water. She's drinking sparkling water. Okay, that's kind of unusual. That we're not saying that's good, but that's a taste bud. A tray of olives come out. She was eating some olives. Cheese, different cheeses come out. She's eating that. But I wasn't watching. But all of a sudden, a tray of raw oysters came. Okay, an 11-year-old eating raw oysters. You want to know? The parents grandparents raise the kid to eat different things. How many kids do you know? And I'm sure there's lots of kids out there that eat it, but go to the schools and go and look. Go and look and see what kids eat. I don't eat salad. I don't eat carrots. I don't eat this. I only eat chicken fingers and pizza and hot dogs. Yeah. When you're 25 years old, you're a fat cow. You're obese.
And
Anyways,
yeah, people don't work today enough to burn that stuff off.
no, and and
Like,
and the other thing is, we got our phones and our computers and our TVs and our video games, and we sit there and we eat crap and we don't work. If you look at that photo, the men and women were working and they were eating what they ate everything like your parents said. Fuck, we got pork chops tonight. We're going to even eat the bone if we can because we're
yeah.
starving. Anyways, Four Seas Loft says olive oil. Good, use olive oil. There's nothing wrong with that. Mike Vanderyak says Roy did not use droppers. You know what, Mike? If Roy has a video or a book or a seminar that Roy's put together, I'm down to watch it because Roy boy, I want to get down with Roy. And you know what? In your life, you can find, like, I never want to be a pigeon man's mentor. I ain't nobody's mentor. because I'm constantly learning. So don't, I'm learning like you are. You got to keep learning every day. And it sounds like, Mike, you're stuck on Roy's book. And I'm sure Roy was good then. But I'm sure if Roy was your mentor, Roy would have adapted to the 2024th century. On that note, let's keep going. We got the Pigeon Boss Awards we're going to do, but we're not there yet because there's comments. We're giving $500 away. Oh boy. Brian Mader says corn and super safflower popular. Yeah, you know what? I think I
Hey,
think
I'm giving Elsie safflower, a part of her meal, and hemp hearts. And that's what I was giving her. Now I got to cut back. I feel like giving her too much high shit. It's like if you eat too much steak every night. I eat steak. I eat steak. I eat the high protein. I eat whatever it is. I eat. After a while, you're gonna have a problem. And this is what.
okay. David, okay, we're gonna Ricky, in the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna wrap up these comments and we're gonna get to Pigeon Bingo, okay?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
just hold on. David Tracy, we didn't forget it. We're having a good show. We're talking. Yes, we're gonna give the prize away. It's only one prize. We're gonna try and do it better than last week. Here we go. Mike Green.
Last week, my phone was echoing. Tonight, it's not echoing. So let's hope.
We're
I'm
not
gonna
going
work
back
with
down that
this.
road. Mike Green says the oil I put on and my minerals, and I put on my in a small concrete mixer. That way the feed gets well mixed. Mike Green, yeah, that's a good idea. A concrete mixer is good. Hey guys, if you don't have a small concrete mixer, go to the dollar store and get yourself a stainless steel bowl. Mix it in there. Use a spatula. Use a stick. Mix it. Whatever you can do, mix it on. You don't have to go with what Mike went with. That works as well. I don't know how easy they are to clean out. Again, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're putting on the feed, give it a good mix. Get everything incorporated. Pigeon Bingo, we're going to go on. Oregano. Yeah, if you want to use oregano, go ahead and use oregano. I remember some of the old timers used to say, put hopper feeds full of peanuts, helps with the feathering. I don't know. I don't see it here. But that was something that they may have done. And that's great then. But things have evolved. So I think there's other ways of doing it.
I,
Hey,
I
from
think I think if Mike could contact Roy and have him on the show next week, then we could actually personally talk to Roy and see exactly how Roy feels and what Roy is actually doing today in the pigeon world. Is he still flying? What tips Roy would have for us? And Roy would actually say that I directed Mike in the most professional way to be a top-notch pigeon flyer, and that would be good. Now, is there any way that Mike could set this up that we could get Roy on the show? Like it would be like kind of like let's barbecue Roy tonight. What do you think?
as Michael Peebler says, people are a slave of the food and drug companies. They are.
Hey,
Mike,
listen,
Mike.
my friend. I know a guy personally. He's 68 years old. His father just passed away, 96 years old. But
Okay.
his father was the CEO or whatever you call these guys of a big, large drug manufacturing facilities. And he said, I grew up with my father coming home and telling us at the kitchen table what drugs they were producing and what drugs they were testing in the human world. He said to me, he's 68 years old now, I'll never take a pharmaceutical or whatever you call it, drug. I will never take one. He said, I learned so much what my dad used to say at the kitchen table. That's enough to scare you.
Well, sure. Okay. Let me get to the comments. Mike made a comment. Pigeon guys are much smarter today. They never feed peas, but know much more about it than someone that fed them with great success for 15 years. Well, it sounds like, Mike, you want me to give the green light to Roy. I don't care what you guys do. You want to try feeding peas for a year? Roy had great success feeding peas, sounds like all year long, and raced on peas and won on peas. The professional dietitians that make a lot of money doing this or whatever they do, they have their ways. You guys do what you want. Again, Mike, Roy didn't use droppers either. Unfortunately, this guy's name that you mentioned, he had great success for 15 years. So I'm going to put him in the level of Jansen or Stickabout or Catrice or Van He or Denny's. I had never heard his name. So he didn't rattle the pigeon world, I don't think, hard enough. Maybe for you, but not. I haven't heard the name. I can't remember him. I haven't seen his photo. It's not. I can't even remember his name now. Roy something. Roy O'Ban. We're gonna call him Roy O'Ban.
No, Roy. It's Roy Orbison. You know,
Roy Orbison.
pretty
O'Ban.
woman
Orbison.
walking down the street.
That's the only
Pretty
Roy I
woman.
know. Okay, hold on.
You kind of like to meet pretty woman.
John Ross says hello. My birthday, and I am 36 today. Holy shit! John Ross is 36.
Happy
Ricky,
birthday.
I remember when I was 36.
I remember when I was 36.
B says Ricky was the one that is wrong on the peas and the proteins. Other guys is correct. Area, sorry, Ricky. 14% is not accurate amount. I don't know. I don't feed peas.
Remember, you guys aren't listening to what I said before. A pigeon man, out of 100% what he says, 1%'s a lie. So you just picked out the lie, okay? There you go.
I don't know. Peas are peas. Feed however many you want. If they're 20%, 40%, 60%, whatever. Anyways,
trapper peas, says, maple peas, white trapper peas, maple peas, green peas. What's the protein? I think it's only 12 or 14%.
We're gonna get Guy on. I gotta go visit him so we can figure out if Roy Orbison's right. Chris Marshall says my daughter eats what's on the table. Mike Green says I looked at a truck driver nowadays that weighs 300 pounds compared to when I first started. They weren't fat, and it was because of the junk food they were eating. Well, thanks, Mike. You know what we're saying. Mike Green says happy birthday. I just had wait, what did Sean say? They just had on the news today of a video of a fat baby going viral. Okay. Mike Vaniak says, I have a broad palate. Well, that's good, Mike. I know that you do. Your birds don't, though. Your birds are eating 95% peas. You have the broad palate, but your birds are eating peas.
I can't believe that, Mike.
Why does it... Wait a minute, Mike. Why aren't you eating peas, too? Anyways, my Robert Doctor says, my neighbor's kid is 14 and weighs 285 pounds.
Yeah, but he's probably 7 feet 8 inches tall.
My thoughts was such a child abuse when your 6-month-old infant weighs 32 pounds. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Holy mackerel. How the heck did that? Oh. I mean that there's no way they're feeding him that much. It's just
Well,
something with the hormones. Who knows?
Mike says me and Lewis forget our Roy Bunsen legacies. Roy Bunsen.
I heard of Roy Bunsen. I think I know the guy Bunsen. I know the guy. I know the fellow. If I see him, I'll probably say, "Hey, you're Roy." But I forget what he looks like. I mean, time's passed, right?
Chris
Roy
Marshman.
Bunsen. I know the guy. I know the guy.
Hey, Mike, your first dropper you get, name it Roy. Chris Marshman says she uses droppers every race. I don't know how that came up, but okay, no problem, Chris. Maybe we are slaves also of the pigeon feed mix companies. Yeah, of course. We are slaves. You can make your own mixes, but I think you got I think if you get a mix and it's from a professional pigeon thing, that's good. But they got to eat
I
the mixes. If they
I
don't eat the
think
mixes, you're
I,
screwed.
I think what that person said is it has the pigeon mix industry become commercial, and half of that what's in that mix is just going in and coming out. It's not
No,
doing.
no.
Oh,
He's saying that the pigeon mixes are man-made. Yes, pigeon mixes are man-made. I get,
no,
yeah,
no. Yeah, they're created like so many peas, so much corn, so much this, so much that. How much in that mix? I believe what this person's saying
no.
has turned to commercial,
Well,
and I'm
sure,
saying
it is, but I don't think you feed straight peas. I don't think
no.
you.
You wait. You have to be your own chemist at home. You have to say, I give 20% pellets. I give 10% barley. I give.
Yeah,
I make my
okay.
own at home. And I
You.
think the commercial. Hold on. I think the commercial pigeon mixes are really for a person that is very lazy. Very lazy. He's not that person that, wait a minute, the person that gets those mixes are saying, well, why should I have 10 bags of, I know, bag of corn, bag of barley, bag of peas, bag of hemp seed, bag of safflower, bag of this, a bag of that, a bag of that. Why should I? Okay, and they get lazy because when you do it your own way, you say, okay, I give an ounce of safflower, I give an ounce of corn, I give 2 ounces of barley, I give this, I make my own feed. But a lot of people,
Can I
I
just
think, are too lazy today.
right? So they make a mix, and they got a dietitian that makes the mix. But the dietitian does not work if the birds don't eat all the feed. Mike Green
Well,
says the pea
that's up to
deal.
who feeds a pea, who
Right.
feeds it.
Mike Green says the pea deal was 30 years ago. It's not something personal I believe in, and he believes in a good folly mix. As Mike Vanderyak pointed out, and Mike has hit the nail on the head. Mike says, that's okay. Roy never heard of you either. Of course Roy's not going to hear of me. I'm nobody in this world. I'm not even you brought Roy up. I never heard of Roy.
Hey, listen,
Roy,
if you
how can
go,
Roy hear of me?
you're
I've invited Roy to come on the show.
you're in Belgium right now. Has anyone over there heard of Roy? I think I heard of Roy.
No, I never heard of Roy. I don't even heard of the last name Roy Bunsen. I don't where is he from? But
Roy Orbison. His
I
name's
know
Roy
Roy
Orbison.
Orbison. Okay, Mike Vanderyak says a typical maple peas typically contain 22 to 24.9% protein. This makes them a good source of protein base.
That's
Good,
very
Mike.
good.
It is good. Feed them a percentage of it. 10%, 20%, 30%. Great. Feed it. but I'm not thinking 95%. I think Roy, if Roy was here today, I think Roy would have adopted from this 95%. I think Roy
Hey,
would have.
look, I think those peas that Mike's talking about is very good for youngsters, raising youngsters when they're developing, bones and feathers and all that stuff. They really need that source of protein. But I do think if you over give protein, it's not good. You can be in trouble.
Right. I think we're just saying you can feed the peas, you can feed the pellets. You can look at if you feed 5% of those peas and 5% of the pellet, right? You're giving them 10% of good protein in different digestible ways.
Ryan,
Correct?
okay. Do you know the high recognized Tippler flyer?
Oh God.
He took awards for flying Tipplers like 21 hours. Oscar, I can't remember his last
Okay,
name. You know that
whatever.
you
Like
you know
Roy.
the man.
Yeah.
You know
All
the
right.
man. I talked to him personally many times. He told me I can raise healthy, plump youngsters just on straight barley. This guy was
Okay.
a top,
All right.
not
Can we
Tippler man.
just I know.
I'm saying you're talking about
I don't know.
yeah.
All right.
Sometimes we go a little overboard
Yeah,
on this feeding.
I think he was being a little bit over the top there. Okay, but I'm not going down that bullshit hole. Are peas really that bad? There's no race mixes here with peas in them. People
I
here
would,
in this country in
I
Belgium did not race it with peas.
when I'm raising youngsters, I would put maximum 20% peas in my feed. That would be 1/5 of what I would feed.
Right.
And I would also add my barley in there. They got to learn to eat barley. They got to learn to eat the large corn, cow's corn,
Okay, so
right?
can I just move on because I got to get to pigeon bingo. I'm getting we're going in a circle here on peas.
Yeah, we're getting
Uh,
late too, right?
Extra tray of peas and beans were given for old birds for the distance, but taken away 4 days before. Yeah, again, all the mixes that I'm seeing.
Hold on. Peas, I believe they don't do zip for old birds for long distance racing. I don't even know who said that,
Yeah,
but
that's
that's
what
not
they
going to
did. But
work.
that's what they did then. They're not doing peas now. You don't find all race mixes now. They don't got peas in them. Anyways, Michael Peevler. I think some of the comments are overlapping, Chris. That's why I read your comment the way it is. Hello there. Mike Green. You see pigeons in the wild eating straight peas. No, you don't. So,
It depends on where that pigeon's flying. If he's flying in a harvest area of a pea farmer,
okay, can
that
we just?
pigeon's going to eat a lot of peas.
We wasted a whole night talking on peas. Anyways, let's get to the bingo, Ricky. I got to. Now you know what you got to do. I have to put. Oh no! Do I have the song? Where's the song? Ricky, are you gonna rotate your camera and get it set up? I'm gonna play the song now for Pigeon Bingo.
So I got to take my camera, put it on top of the cage,
Yeah,
or no?
yeah. You can actually
Like,
just take it out of its holder and leave.
or I
Yeah.
could leave it on the holder, just rotate it, right? Yeah,
I'm
that
afraid.
way.
I'm sorry, guys. This
Uh,
might look like complete shit again. It's trying to have a 80-year-old person figure it out. Going to be a bit painful. Here's the video, guys. For the pigeon.
listen to me. You're getting a little bit closer to 80 every day. You're not getting closer to 20, eh?
Hold on, Ricky. I'm playing the video. You ready for the video? Here we go.
So what now? I got to turn it.
Alrighty, we're gonna now switch over to the camera where Ricky's got the camera not set up yet.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn the camera around and lay it flat down.
I don't know.
So
We
okay,
talked
hold on.
about this already.
Hold on.
Sorry,
I'm gonna
guys.
turn it.
Thank God there's only one more week of Pigeon Bingo.
Okay, here we go. So what now? I turn it like this. Whoop. I gotta get this phone out of here.
All
right. Okay. So is that the way you want to see it? Is that right?
No, we're facing the light.
Oh. Alrighty. This is the way. Good.
Yeah, that's not bad. Okay.
You want me to move it a bit this way?
Move it
Like-
towards the towards the window, a little bit towards the window. A little bit more. Hold on. Okay, now we can barely see the names, but that's okay. That is all right. Ricky, do me the favor, my friend. We are playing for 500 Feathers Elite dollars that you can use at any one of our stores nationwide. Pigeon Bingo, these are the birds that earned Hall of Fame spots and got you into this draw. $500 is up for grabs this evening. Ricky, put in our dropper and let's see who gets shit on this evening. Reminder, guys, if a pigeon shits on two names at the same time or it's equal shits, we're going to redo it. If it shits on a square that doesn't have a pigeon, someone's name on it, we're going to redo it. Here we go.
Okay, let Ricky go out and get the non-show quality.
So when we were doing the song for 2 minutes, what the hell were you doing?
I had to let my dog out for a walk.
Anyways, guys, you can see the pain that I have to go through on a daily basis. The struggle is real. Struggle is real. So we're waiting now for Ricky to make it back, and hopefully he tells us when he comes back in, because he's got to go out and get the bird now. He couldn't do that with the 2-minute song for the Pigeon Boss Awards. I want to thank the people for submitting. We are going to open up our 2025 awards, and next year we're giving away 10,000 Feathers Elite dollars. Again, providing people participate.
Okay, here we go. This is the drum roll.
All right,
Ready?
put her in. Put her in.
Here we go. It's in.
There we go. Who will get shit on first? It looks like there's no shitting happening, but shit does happen.
No shitting.
No, I'm not at an Airbnb. No.
Not shitting. Oh, it's got to shit any minute.
Man, I don't know.
Oh.
When do you put them in a basket?